my friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Man Cave. Think I've got some good information for you today and a couple of short videos that I think you'll find interesting. Let's see, let me get started here. First of all, the lawn tractor saga. Some things just won't quit, and this is another one of those things. It worked just fine. I put the new larger fuel filter on it. She used it for over an hour and it ran just fine. Before that, it would only run 5 minutes and die, So it ran well over an hour, then it died again. So I thought, well, I still got the new plugs to put in, so I'll try that now. I like to change just one thing at a time. So obviously the fuel filter seemed to have improved it, but it didn't fix it. So I put the new plugs in, and then I didn't hear any more out of her, but later that day she told me, she says, so it won't run at all now. It just runs for a few minutes and dies. So I haven't got back to it yet to see what the problem is. I can't imagine. It's like, I just can't win. I just can't win. It's just, some things just won't quit no matter what. I'll give you another good example is like the power steering on the Ford tractor. I have replaced the pump. I've replaced the lines. I've installed extra pressure relief valves. I've tried everything on the earth to fix the power steering on that Ford tractor. And I've not just started fixing that in the last few years. This has pretty much been a lifelong project of trying to fix the power steering on that Ford tractor. And it'll work for 3 or 4 days, and you think, all right, I finally figured it out and fixed it. And then it starts leaking again. It'll leak in a different place. It'll just find some new place to leak. And it just does all the time and still does to this day. And I've been working on it since I was a late teenager at least. It's just nuts. There's some things that will not quit. And this lawn tractor, I'm beginning to think, is one of those. I don't think it matters what I do. It's going to find something else to give me trouble. Anyway, on a different note, so then Saturday, I built the next wall for the Waterwheel Millhouse. And I worked on that, and, I kept watching the clock because I knew I had to play a show that evening at the Highgate Baptist Church in, it's in Highgate, Missouri, but it's not far from St. James. Well, anyway, I knew I wanted to allow plenty of time to get there, so I thought, well, I'll quit it a little before 3. That's what the clock said. Well, when I got up to the house, the clock said 4 o'clock. So you think, well, you forgot to set it back at daylight savings time or something. Well, no, that's not the case. The batteries were dead in the clock, and it's just one of them deals. So now I'm running late to get to the show. Not only do I have enough time to, I like to usually sit down and relax for like an hour before I go to the show. Well, in this case, I woofed down a sandwich and then loaded the car and took off. I mean, I had to take a shower, of course, get ready, but instantly, as soon as I got there, we were setting up the sound and stuff, and it was just barely enough time to get it set up. And then I had about 5 minutes or 10 minutes before the show started. So I worked hard all day long and then rushed my tail off to get there. And then, actually, I don't feel like I did my best that night. I just wasn't hitting on all cylinders. Overall, the show was pretty good. I think it went over pretty well, but could have been better. So that's how Saturday went. So then, I had I had that wall done, and after working all day Saturday and then that show Saturday evening at the church, well, then Sunday I was whipped. So I didn't do anything Sunday really. I pretty much just took it easy, except for that I did do. I thought it's in the afternoon I went down to the shop and worked on the laser cutter. And anyway, I've just more or less trying to become more experienced with the laser cutter, if I guess is the best way to say it. And here's the results of that. Well, my friends, these are my impact sockets. And here's the millimeter size, and you can see they're on plastic connectors. And look, you can see that they don't even fit down in there. They're so crammed together they don't fit. And you can't even force it down in there really well. One of them's already broke off right here. Anyway, they take up a lot of space. Here's the new ones I made with the laser cutter. And, you know, basically you got the same amount of stuff in the same place there. I'm going to make the smaller one for this and put that right here. And that won't take up much space. And so I'm going to replace all these too. Right now I think I'm actually going to work on this side and make specifically this drawer here, this real long one, and try to get that fixed to match this over here. So here I go. Well, you saw the before, now you can see the after. I'm very happy with that. I may still make the small trays also for these. I think I can make them the same size and fit all of these sockets in there because these are much smaller. Same way with these. So when I get time, I might do that. I made a little extra tray to hold all the little accessories and things. Just makes it much easier to find your stuff when you're ready to do a job. And these flimsy pieces of junk that the sockets didn't even fit on, I'll probably give these to my grandson or something, and he'll think he's got something. But anyway, I like that way better. And I don't know if I showed you, but you can also just pick up the whole tray and take it with you. It's really solid. So I really like that, to be able to just grab the whole tray and go, and then you don't have to worry. Where that plastic, you could not do that. There's plastic, even on these little ones, the plastic's likely to break. I mean, you can pick this one up, it's not too bad, these small ones, but those big ones, they just flexed really bad. So I'm pretty happy with that. Yeah. So, and, you know, that first one took me a very long time to make, but then after you make the first one, well, then you've pretty much got the pattern down, and all you do is just change the sizes for the rest of them, and you can, you know, make the next one much faster, you know. So, anyway, I'll get around to making those other smaller ones next, and that'll be nice to have it all very concise. And like I said, being able to pick it up and carry it with you is really handy. Those long ones that had, you put all those heavy sockets on there, you couldn't pick that up. It's just impossible. Then, you know, I told you I built the wall on Saturday. Well, then this morning I ran down there thinking I was going to get started right on the trim right away and get that all trimmed out. Well, I decided I needed to do a small little project on my Polaris Ranger. I have a little wooden rack on the back of the bed there, and that little wooden rack, one of the pegs had broken off, so I made a new peg and fixed that and put the rack back together to hold it steady. And I didn't take any video of that or anything, but that's what I did this morning first. So I had some lathe work and different things and got that all working and made it real nice again. Then I did the trim work, and here is the result of the work on the wall. Well, I've got all the boards laid out for the third wall on the second floor, but I haven't nailed them together yet. They're just set in place. So here we go. Well, it was a little bit of a struggle, but Sue and I were able to set this wall in place by ourselves. Didn't have any extra help. But now you're starting to see what it's going to look like. Hopefully I centered that window above that door, but I didn't check to make sure, but it looks like it.
I had a tarp covering this whole thing, but I moved it back when we set this wall. Anyway, the wall that goes across here, the door is going to be over on this side. There'll be another window over here. Water wheel's still turning. It's just a trickle of water right now, but you can see it's still turning. I knew it would turn even with a trickle of water. I wasn't too concerned about that. But I still haven't got the trim up on that window yet, or the battens below the window. But we're getting close. One more wall to build, and then onto the roof.
Yeah, it just takes time and a lot of work, a lot of effort. It's way more effort than it may appear to do all that. It looks easy on camera because you can speed it up and all that, but to do all that work, it's more than you would think. And like I said, it's one thing to go to the lumber yard, buy the lumber, and then build it. But when you have to make the lumber before you can build it, that's a different thing too. So it's even more work. My plans for this afternoon, first thing is I guess I'm going to do a little bit of paperwork and get caught up on a few things. And then I'm going to check my email and get that caught up. Then, if I still feel like it, I guess I'll go out and start the final wall. I don't know if I'll feel like it or not, though. I'm pretty wore out, but I may go down and start the final wall yet this afternoon. And then, just FYI, tomorrow evening we'll be at Dickey's Barbecue Pit in Rolla, Missouri, so come out and join us if you can, if you're in the area. We'd love to have you. That starts at 6 o'clock. Dickey's Barbecue Pit, Rolla, Missouri, tomorrow evening. Okay, let's go to the comments and see where we're at here. It looks like Jeff Puris was the first one to check in. David Tharp says, Jerry, here's a Missouri historical fact I bet you didn't know. In the early days, it was against the law to hang a man with a wooden leg. They had to use rope. I've heard that one before, or one very similar. Let's see. Moving on down. Dottie's praying for us. Thank you, Dottie, and praying for the country. And boy, there's where the prayers are really needed right there. And all the victims of the hurricanes and people are moving. Seems like there's a natural disaster every minute anymore. And she's asking for prayers for her grandson. Well, I've been praying for your grandson. I hope everything works really well for that. Ronald Todd, Jerry, I was watching a YouTube Jimmy's World. Yeah, I watch him every once in a while. And they were showing an old airplane that was put on a truck chassis, and the plane came out of the field in Rolla. Do you remember the plane? No, I'll be darned. The only thing I can remember about planes in the Rolla area is the Midnight Flight Band. They used an old vintage airplane that was at the little Rolla Regional Airport. Rolla Regional Airport's actually a pretty big airport. It's got a long runway. Anyway, there was an old vintage plane with the, I don't know if it had 2 props or 4 props, but it was like a silver body, silver wings, the whole bit. It was an old vintage looking plane, that's for sure. And that's what they used as their logo, that band did. That's the only plane I remember from the Rolla area is that one. So I don't guess I saw that one on Jimmy's World. I'll have to check that out and find out about that. By the way, just a bit of trivia, Don, our bass player, he was a pilot, and a couple of years ago he sold his plane. But I never did get to fly with him. I wanted to. I've told the story several times before, but Gene Smith was another music friend of mine in the Rolla area who at one time was a crop duster pilot. So he was very skilled pilot. You got to be a crop duster. And then he was the one that started building the ultralights, and he was named Innovator of the Year up at that huge Oshkosh fly-in. He was on the cover of their magazine, the whole bit. He was really quite the guy. He was a super engineer. I've said before that he was the only guy, I mean, the only guy that I would call if I got stuck on a problem, like a mechanical problem issue, just like the lawn tractor. I wouldn't really call him on that because I can't figure out even where the problem is, although he might have a better solution or a better suggestion. But you could call him with a specific problem and say, I'm working on an alternator for a 1959 Farmall tractor, or, a John Deere tractor, and, it's an XY, and just, you could name all these specifics, and he'd go, well, then there's a screw there on that top plate there, you just undo that, I'm seriously telling you, you couldn't stump him. I've never seen a guy like him in my whole life. It's just amazing. The most skilled mechanical engineer guy I've ever seen in my life. But and he was up there. He was considerably older than me, and you expected any day to hear, that he died in a plane crash with his ultralights, because he was building ultralights and selling them like crazy. And he fell out of the high lift bucket of his tractor while he was trimming trees, and that's what killed him. Just amazing. Dottie's there. It says, looks like, no, there's no question marks. I thought there were. Tom Armstrong's got some. Good afternoon, everybody. Hi, Jerry. Was thinking that your mill building might make a neat little weather station. Well, yeah, I guess you could. It's well, I don't know. Maybe. I don't, I think you've heard me say before, or I've said it several times, that I don't get into the weather at all. I never, and I mean like never, listen to the weather. Like as soon as it comes on, I'm changing the channel. Now, anymore, it doesn't come on anymore because I'm watching YouTube. But back when we were watching network television, as soon as the weather would come on, I'd be switching channels. I just couldn't stand watching it because I don't like to watch anything if you're just guessing. And that's pretty much all they're doing is guessing. I mean, they're pretty good at guessing anymore, especially like on temperature and some things like that. But when they give you there's a 30% chance of rain, so either way they're right. It's just stupid. I just don't like it. David Tharp, whoever said out of sight, out of mind, has never lost sight of that red wasp in the bedroom. Yeah, I'll tell you what, those red wasps, boy. They were, what was that I was doing? I think it was Saturday. I think it was Saturday also, but it might have been Friday. I can't remember. But anyway, we got a new deal from Vivor, and it's a hose reel. And Sue was excited for this. I asked her, I said, well, pick out something that you want. I'll get you whatever you want. And so she wanted this hose reel for her garden area. And I said, okay, fine, I'll get that. So anyway, we got it, and I started installing it on the end of her greenhouse. And man, something kept hitting me on the back of the neck and stuff. And I thought it was horseflies or something. And I look, and it's red wasp flying down at me. Now, they haven't stung me yet, which is a miracle, because they usually, first thing they do is sting, and then they fly, I mean, like, that's the first thing they do is usually sting you. Well, they didn't sting me, but they hit me 2 or 3 times. So I took off running over to the shop because I've got some wasp spray there, right? So I'm in the shop for 15, 20 seconds, finding the wasp spray, and then, had to walk all the way across to the far end of the shop and then back. So then I thought, well, I'll go back up there and spray them. Well, as soon as I opened the door, here these red wasps were dive bombing me again. I mean, they followed me to the door and apparently just waited for me to come back out. And I nailed the one with the wasp spray in the air, and then I went over there and sprayed the area, and I didn't have any more trouble with them after that. Most of these wasp sprays these days are not near as potent as they used to be. This Ortho, I bought the Ortho this time, and that seems to be better. so just in case you care, the ortho wasp spray seemed to knock them down much faster than the other. I mean, the other stuff works, don't get me wrong, just doesn't seem to be near as potent, but the ortho seemed to work pretty well. Steve Mays, I have had to take a very fine wire and run through every hole I could find in carburetor to get unstopped and clean. Yeah, I've had that before too. I have said on this, I tried to take the carburetor apart and clean it on this thing. Well, that carburetor is made different than any carburetor I've ever worked on before, and it doesn't like to come apart. A lot of the parts are pressed, like press fit type things, and you can't get them out. You know, I mean, I'm sure I could knock them out, but I didn't want to go to heavy extremes, you know. And so it doesn't come apart like other carburetors, and I've taken apart hundreds of carburetors in my life, and this one didn't want to come apart. So I cleaned everything I could the best way I could. I sprayed it out with carb cleaner and blew through all the little ports and jets that I could get into, and everything seemed to be perfectly fine. I didn't see any creep and crud or nothing. I mean, it seemed to be fine. So I don't think it's a carburetor problem, but you never know. I mean, you never know. If I knew, I'd already have it fixed, as I've said. David Thorpe, I went to the store and told the clerk that I needed a battery so I could tell time. He said, "Is it 4 o'clock?" I said, "I don't know. That's why I need the battery." Like I said, I can't read. That's 3/4 of the problem. I just can't read. That's 3/4 of the problem is I can't read. Cup of Cool, I noticed in one of your videos a pool table. Do you still practice the art of billiards? Because I know you got all the time in the world for it. No, when we bought this house, that was a game room area. There's a one of those you slide the puck or the thing, and it's a bowling machine, but it's not a round ball bowling machine. It's the puck type bowling machine. So there was one of those in there, and there's that giant pool table. And that's a big pool table. It's a 9-foot pool table. It's the full size big deal. And anyway, it was there, and so I bought those things in place. I bought the bowling machine and the pool table in place during the auction they had. Let's see. But and to answer your question, I rarely ever play pool. I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago, JR and I don't know. I don't remember if it was Becker or Mary or both, but there was 2 or 3 of them in there, and they were playing pool, and they kept egging me on, and so I played, and I won. I beat them, and that's probably the first time I played pool in 20 years, even though we've got the pool table sitting right there. Wavy Gravy. Jerry, did you know Mr. Carney, who used to restore vintage cars in Rolla? No, I think I've heard that name, though. I've heard some stories about it. There was a guy that, and I'm trying to remember specifically who. There was a guy that had. There was 2 or 3 of these vintage car places in the Rolla area, and one of them that was right on the highway there was a big one, and his fiance, girlfriend, whatever, was some real famous gal. I'm trying to think of who that was, though. Real famous. You would know her name. And I'm wondering if that's the guy, that since you brought that up. I'm wondering if he was the one that was dating the famous, it was either actress or singer or something. I can't remember which gal it was. Now, somebody was telling me the story not too long ago, maybe just a couple of months ago, somebody was telling me that. But anyway, you would recognize the name of the gal that it was a vintage car guy in Rolla, that had the place along the highway. So it may be the same guy. I'm not really sure. The spoken song. A few minutes ago, you said Silver Wings. I did. ASCAP will be sending you a bill for copyright infringement. I said Silver Wings a few minutes ago? Okay. I'll take your word for it. I don't remember it. I tell you, out of context, I probably said something like that along in passing a minute ago for a particular reason. Probably had nothing to do with a song, as you are pointing out there. I know you're kidding at me here, but I can't think of how I said that. I tell you, I'm a mess. I'm a mess. Bill Mumbo, put a weather vane on the roof, Jerry. Maybe. Maybe. Simon Jardine, will you fit a single or twin pitched roof to the wheelhouse? Sorry for previous comment, folks. I realize he'll use shingles. Yeah. Well, I don't even know if I know what you mean. A single or twin pitched roof. I don't know what you mean there. Oh, you mean like just a shed roof or a pitched roof like that? Yeah, it'll be a regular truss type roof. What I'm going to do is bring it out. That last wall that has to be built. The roof is going to go like this above that wall. And then I'm going to make another small roof under that's going to come out and cover the stairs and the door entrance and all that. And that'll be off to one side a little bit. And I plan to use really large posts for holding up that little roof that's going to come out to get up into the upper level. Anyway, I've got a vision in my head. I don't know if it'll work out, but that's what I'm planning right now. Outboard Tinker. Hi, Jerry. That was Elvis Presley's old... Yeah, I saw the Elvis Presley jet, but I don't think that had anything to do with Rolla. I don't think. I thought he got that out of the desert. I remember him seeing... I don't think that came from Rolla. I don't know. Not the Elvis Presley one, anyway. I saw Jimmy's World about the Elvis Presley jet, but I sure didn't connect it to Rolla. Maybe it was, but I thought he got that out of the desert. That desert graveyard area where they put all those planes. I don't know. Captain Bubba, the plane was a DC-3 that was damaged by a tornado in Rolla. I'll be darned. Okay, well, it's all getting twisted up now. I don't even know what we're talking about at this point. Ulysses Hale, the DC-3 belonged to Kermit Weeks at the Fantasy of Flight Museum in Polk County, Florida. We'll see, there's another opinion. I don't know if any of us know what we're talking about at this point. Dottie Hildebrand, my son went out to look at his planter. The red wasp stung him about 6 or 7 times. He uses brake cleaner to kill them. Yeah, that'll kill them. Yeah, a red wasp, man, they just eat you alive. They don't usually ask any questions. That's how I can't believe I didn't get stung with them flying. At least 2 of them hit me, and I can't believe I didn't get stung. Let's see, moving on down. It scrolled on me here. Now I'm lost my place. Kenneth David Tharp says, think 4 o'clock. Okay. Again, if you're referring to something back before, now I've already lost the context. So it's you got to spell it out. After the context is gone, if you don't spell it out, I have no idea. Kenneth Ennis, Jerry, the way you have your mic set up is a lot better. It's almost out of sight now. Okay. Nancy Milowski. I don't get the clock battery joke either. Sorry, David. Ronald Todd. Don't feel bad, Jerry. I don't get David all the time either. Okay, that was the clock. Yeah, okay, so he's the battery thinks. Think 4 o'clock. All right, I'm thinking 4 o'clock now, and I'm trying to think of that joke. I'd have to go back and reread the joke now because I don't remember. Yeah, I don't think that helps. I can't help it, I tell you. MS, okay, there's no question mark. Sorry, Tom Crow. Is it 4 o'clock? Is it 4 o'clock? Boy, you guys. Oh, 4 o'clock. FOR o'clock. Okay. Well, I'd still have to go back and reread the joke now to see how that ties in because it's still not doing it for me. Sorry. Like I said, I'm a terrible reader. You have to excuse me. I'm not lying. I've been that way my whole life. I can't read worth a darn. I never could. It's pitiful. I was actually, when they, you've heard me say on the DJ job, where I got canned on the DJ job. I didn't get canned because they didn't like me. I got canned because I was costing them too much money. They got a free job. I mean, they got a free show out of Nashville or something. And so they started playing that in my time slot. So anyway, another radio station offered me a job. And so I went there to interview for their, DJ job. And I passed the interview. The guy, he liked me, and he liked the sound of my voice on his radio and the whole bit, So anyway, he says, now we will have to have you read a lot of stuff. Read news and weather and things. I said, I'm going to bow out, guys. I'm not even going to bother trying because I'm not good at reading. I'm just not. And so I had the job if I wanted it. And I told him, I said, depending on what it is, I can read it and then say it out loud, but I can't read it out loud on your radio and do very well. And so he had me try that, and he said, well, that's fine. The way you did that works perfectly for us if you want to do it. And I said, no, I'm just going to bow out. And so I didn't take the job. But anyway, I'm just not good at reading. Let's see. Captain Bubba says, my carb on my mower was running terribly. I put fuel injector cleaner I use in my car, and it straightened out. Well, I might try something like that. It definitely could be carburetor. It's very possible. It just seems, now I'm beginning to think it might be more electrical in terms of, because like I said, after I put new spark plugs in it, it got even worse. So, and I'm thinking maybe the plug wires are bad. Maybe they're shorting out. I haven't looked at that yet to see if that could be it. Like I said, it ran over an hour, no problem at all, and then it started again. Wavy Gravy, my neighbor likes to multitask. He completely restored his old truck and totally destroyed his bank account all at the same time. Yeah, I can kind of relate to that. The spoken song, you said silver wings when you were answering the viewer's question about that plan. There you go. And I knew you were just joking, but I couldn't think of how did I say silver wings? I knew you were just kidding, but I couldn't think of where I said it. And then, like I said, once it's out of context, I've lost it. It's gone. So thanks for at least clearing that up for me. Gary Cooper, be glad when you get back to mornings. This messes with my nap time. Yeah, it kind of messes with mine too, to be honest with you. Gary Cooper, be glad when you get back to morning. Oh, sorry. I told you I can't read. Ronald Todd, the Elvis jet was parked next to the plane from Rolla. Parked next to the plane from Rolla. They were at the Oshkosh Air Show. Oh, well, okay. All right. Now it might be making a little bit of sense. I don't know if they're still going to Oshkosh, but his family, Elena took over the prop deal, and she started getting her pilot's license and all that, and she may have had a plane up there at Oshkosh for all I know. It could be something related to that, because I know they all went up there, and, anyway. So it could have been something like that. Let's see. Captain Bubba, 9-foot tables, does it have tapered pockets or straight cut-out pockets? If tapered, it probably a billiard table. Pool tables are 4x8 and the balls are bigger. All I know is everybody said it was the professional grade type table. That's all I know. I don't know. When you say tapered, I'm not sure I know what you mean by that. I don't know that I've seen any different kinds of pockets. It's just got the standard old pockets, if you ask me. But I'll have to look at it. Rudd Jansen, maybe he needed a battery for a light to see where to wind up the clock. Bert Pichon, I think you will use 18-inch shingles. How much reveal will you expose on the next shingle? I was planning to go about 5 inches, something in that neighborhood. It's going to be whatever looks good for the most part. So it'll be 3 layers deep by the time you get up to the end of the shingle, Simon Jardine, when I made my garden shed from scratch, Jerry, I gave pitched roof a 9-inch overhang on all 4 sides to stop the rain running down. Yeah, well, not to outdo you, Simon, but I'm planning to do 18 inches. I'm planning to have a huge overhang on it. Yeah, that's always a good thing. You don't want water running down the side of your building. Caleb Mills, hey, Jerry, have you got any LS250s left sitting around? That's a good question, Caleb. I don't know offhand. I'd have to look. I'll have to look. I just don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked at strings in quite a while, actually. Jerry Boyle, is it 4 o'clock? If you know, I wouldn't need a clock 4 o'clock. Okay, let's move on. DE, Jerry, I was wondering if you thought of placing a cupola on the wheelhouse with the weather vane or on the top. Oh, well, could look okay, I guess. I don't think that would be the norm on a mill house, though, on a water wheel house. I don't remember ever seeing a cupola on one of those kinds of houses. You see them on barns. You see them on, sheds and things, I guess. No reason you couldn't put one on there, I guess. I'll let it wander around in my brain and see if that ever happens. It might. It's possible. But right now I got to get to the roof stage first. And then we'll worry about the pretty stuff later. But that's not a bad idea. The Outboard Tinkerer, do you like shingles better than clapboard for your building project? Shingles better than clapboard. Well, clapboard goes on your walls, and I'm using, instead of clapboard siding, I'm using board and batten siding. Now, shingles go on a roof. It doesn't matter what kind of shingles you're talking about. In my case, I'm talking about cedar shake type shingles, but asphalt shingles go on the roof too. So I mean, you can put shingles on the side of a building. I'm aware of that, but I haven't done that, so I don't know where that came from. So I don't know. Clapboard to me always, that doesn't go on the roof. That goes on the sides, as far as I know. Now, maybe I don't know everything. Let's see. Captain Bubba, the DC-3 was an RV made out of a truck chassis. It came from a guy in Rolla, not the Elvis jet. Okay, well, I'm totally confused at this point, so any further explanations wasted. I truly don't know what we're talking about at this point. Like I said, guys, I can't read for crap. And, what I've read already is just going in circles, and it's all jumbled in my brain right now. Tom Armstrong, we have white-faced hornets, also called bald-faced hornets. Yeah, we've got those too up north here. Ever been stung by those? Are terrible creatures. I've been stung by one a long time ago. Seen a lot of them, and we've, those hornet nests that I have, I've got two of them. Those are bald-faced hornets. Make those big, huge paper nests, that hang in the tree or whatever. I've got two of those, and those are bald-faced hornets here that do that. Bill Mumbo says a mandolin-shaped weather vane. Well, that's got some potential, I got a laser cutter to cut one out. I could do that. Dan Lindsay, have you tried pulling off one plug wire at a time with the motor running? No, I haven't, but it doesn't seem to be missing, so I typically only do something like that if it's missing, and then that way you can figure out which one it's missing on. It doesn't seem to be missing. What I'm thinking of when I say a plug wire problem is that maybe one plug wire is arcing intermittently, and maybe at some point it's making contact and shorts it out, is what I'm thinking. But I don't even know that. I'm just guessing at this point. The Outboard Tinker says, no, I mean the sides. Ha. Yeah, well, for the sides, I'm just using the siding you're seeing there. It's board and batten, and that's kind of the old tradition in this, at least in this area. That's pretty traditional. In fact, my workshop down there, the siding on that building was all board and batten, so it kind of matches the area here too. Guys, I'm going to let that be it. I'm confused enough now. I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. It's pitiful to not be able to read better than I can read, but it's just the way it is. I'm not going to try to, sugarcoat it. It just is the way it is. We got 160 viewers. That's a new high for the afternoon. So thank you all for being here. I will probably go over in that chair and take a nap, and then I'm going to catch up on paperwork and email, and then maybe go down and work on that wall some more, or the next wall, I should say. We'll see you tomorrow with something else.